And police officers in York Region, they're soon going to be equipped with body cameras. The service says that the devices are going to be rolled out next spring. Police say that the initiative is aimed at promoting transparency and accountability while also enhancing safety for residents and officers. Body cameras have been introduced by several other police services in the GTA. More public consultations are scheduled for the next year. And for more on this, we're joined by CTV's public safety analyst and former OPP commissioner, Chris Lewis. Chris, always a pleasure to speak with you. Thanks for taking time this evening. So let's start off with this. What is the purpose of a body camera?
Well, good to see you, Bakari. Always a pleasure. The body camera gets a lot of publicity around accountability of officers, and that is undoubtedly a very important part of that. But the body cameras also shorten investigations. You get great evidence on video often. Things people say, things people do, all captured on film. There's no denying it later. And it also helps catch the police doing things right. When they're following policy and they've done nothing wrong and they're accused of doing something wrong in a false or frivolous complaint, often the video evidence shows that this is going nowhere quick. And so it's a real important piece of technology, one of the most important pieces I think that's come out in many years.
Okay, so this may sound like a very basic question, but how do they actually work?
Well, it's really a camera. It's like if you could mount your iPhone facing out to the world on your tie, it would be very similar. Wherever that camera is pointing, you're going to capture the images, and they also record sound, so it's video and audio. There has to be a policy framework around when they're activated and when they're not, because sometimes you're dealing with a victim of a sexual assault, people that are only partially dressed, kids, and there's all sorts of issues that you may or may not want to record, but there has to be policy. And there's been a great framework developed across Canada by the Chiefs of Police Association nationally, and a number of municipal departments and regional departments put their heads together, and they've got a sample policy for others to use. And that's very important because it has to be followed. If officers aren't turning them on at the right time and capturing the right evidence, there'll be, accusations of not being accountable. So it has to be done properly.
Yeah, so along with that, these are being rolled out in other municipalities. Why would people be against these?
I don't know. Initially, I think some police unions in North America were opposed to them because it was kind of billed as, we're going to catch cops doing things wrong, as opposed to catching them doing it right. Why the public would be concerned unless you're committing a crime on camera, you shouldn't have any concerns. It's not about capturing people and faces just in a general sense. It's about gathering evidence for investigations or protecting officers against investigations. It's really a good thing. Some are trying to turn it into bad, but I think ultimately across North America, this has been seen as a very good tool.
Yeah, so Chris, why is there the need for public consultations? Why not just, roll them out?
It's more really to communicate with the public around the things they may be concerned about. And some people are concerned that, I'm walking by a camera, it's going to capture me, and maybe I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing, or with someone I shouldn't be with, or it's a violation of my privacy. That's not a concern. That stuff will just kind of loop through the camera, and ultimately, if something bad happens, they freeze it, they keep it, they store it for court. It all feeds into computerized systems to prepare Crown briefs for court, and it all gets attached to files. It's quite a network that is a part of this. But there's no concern about you walking down the street. It's only about people doing things wrong or the police doing things right or wrong in some cases.
Will officers need any additional training?
Absolutely. Training around how to operate the cameras, how to make sure they're on, how to make sure they're recording, how to download that at the end of a shift, how all that works either wirelessly or they have to connect into some sort of a network, depends on the department. A big department like York will have this really set up very well with all the proper tools. And a large number of these cameras across the country are from the same company, Axon, which is the company that makes the taser device that we've seen and talked about a number of times. They're really into doing what's right for police and for the public. So it's a great network and a great system.
CTV's public safety analyst and former OPP commissioner, Chris Lewis, thank you very much for your time on this Friday evening.
Anytime, my friend. Thank you.